Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go around Southeast Michigan, as I have been for more than 1,200 episodes. I'm Jer Stays, and across the table from me is producer
Cheyenne Serini.
It's so good to hear from you.
It is great to hear from you, too.
I've gotten a lot of good feedback. They're like, yeah, let Cheyenne out from behind the glass once in a while. Not that we have actual glass, but you know what I mean. Free Cheyenne.
Right. Like, does she even work here anymore? I'm here, I swear.
You've been here the whole time.
I'm always here.
Right? It's only just people want you to be present.
I know. I'm around, though, guys. I promise.
We have a lot to talk about today. I will say that we've already gotten a ton of feedback from yesterday's show, which you edited with Norris Howard. I'm going to keep saving those and usually save them to replay them back or talk about them with the person they're talking about, because I don't like to talk about people without them around. But I appreciate the feedback, whichever way you feel about it, because I know we had a lot of strong feelings with yesterday's episode. Another piece of housekeeping that I'm going to do at the beginning of the episode, we finally found a date for our We Didn't Win party.
Right.
Because if you don't know, if you're new here, we enter the podcast awards and ended up as a finalist for Best News and Politics Podcast in the country. That is awesome.
It is.
We did not win. We lost to Betches Media's Morning Announcements, which is a huge project. I mean, their budget could buy us a neighborhood plus. We could redevelop 2 neighborhoods in Detroit with the amount of budget their organization has. I feel proud about what we did, Cheyenne.
I think, we were the underdog. We knew that going in.
I mean, look, we've got thousands of followers and they have 9.1 million on Instagram.
Yeah, but you know what? We made it to the finals. And so we're going to celebrate that.
Yeah, celebrate victories. I'm learning to be better about that.
Yeah.
Because you've known me for years. I'm not very good about that. I'm always I could have done better. Even after getting this, even after seeing the announcement, I was like, oh, man, we still, even Fletcher, right? He is our resident grumpy cat. He was he told me this whole story about when he was in cross country and his dad taught him that coming in in the top 40 out of thousands of runners is a really big deal. So look, when even Fletcher tells me to be positive, I'm going to be positive and I'm going to embrace it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I am new to the cross country world with my child. And let me just say, all I care about is the fact that he's having fun and he's finishing his race. I don't care where he is in the pack.
Does it tucker him out at all?
It actually does.
Oh, that's fabulous.
It is. I will say it's kind of great. He is an unstoppable Energizer bunny.
So this party, the We Didn't Win party, or We Finished Close. I'd love to get your ideas for names for this. dailydetroit@gmail.com. It's going to be at Castalia because we got to throw some love to Castalia. They have been great sponsors of the show. It's very important to have that local support. And we are going to have that starting at 5 officially. But if you come a little early, you might be able to catch a wild Devin O'Reilly or something. But officially 5 o'clock till whenever. So at least we'll be there till 8. It is, of course, in Midtown. I'll put all the details up. We'll talk about this a bunch of times. But please come on by because it would be great to celebrate with you. I know that it's only a couple of week notice, but I wanted to get this in before patio season completely closed. The fall colors in Midtown are going to be wonderful, and show them a little love. And then we'll start doing some rotation around town with some venues. I've got some really cool things planned, but please come on out. That's going to be on Wednesday, October 25th. Again, Wednesday, October 25th. Come say hi. We'd love to have a cocktail with you. Alcoholic, non-alcoholic, whatever you want to do. There's some great venues right nearby. A lot of people said, let's keep doing Wednesday. So we're going to keep doing Wednesday.
And for those who do not drink alcohol, their non-alcoholic drinks are delicious. So don't let that stop you from coming out and hanging out. So, Jer, speaking of previous episodes, I was editing the library talk yesterday. I was thinking about it, and there is actually 2 separate library networks that so it's actually called, the one that Oak Park Library is part of is called the Library Network. Okay. And that encompasses 59 communities in Southeast Michigan.
So many of the local communities except Detroit.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you can use those library services at any of those libraries. So you could go check out books at any of those libraries. You could sign up and use their ebooks and stuff on things like Hoopla or Libby. And it's around, Chelsea's in there.
There's also like the Michigan level. Is that the Melcat that people have been telling me about?
Yeah. So the Melcat is the Michigan Library Network. It's like all of the libraries within Michigan.
One of our listeners who lives in a township mentions that they spend almost $1,000 a year on their library because they have to levy such high things, but they're kind of glad to do it because they're not sure that the rest of Oakland County would support libraries. And that to me is kind of nuts.
Yeah. I utilize my library a lot. Not only do I utilize my library because I am a ferocious reader, but my child loves the library. And I don't know about you, but I can't always afford to be buying new books. And he is also a ferocious reader. So as much as I love to support my local bookshops,
and we do,
when I'm buying new books, I just would much rather go to my library and check out the book.
I wish I could figure out my time better. Like I really need, here's our subtle pitch for patreon.com/dailydetroit. But really we need more resources so I can free up some more time because I need to be able to do more author interviews. But I only do author interviews if I've read the book.
Right.
And that's a lot of time. So, I mean, I'm a fast reader, but still, I think that it's important to support that. So yeah, it's just something that we like to do. And I think it's an important part. Reader culture is so important. So I would love to talk to a library expert. That's the call out. And I'm working on this project of like, how did this all come together? How could we figure out ways? Because look, merging them all isn't going to happen, but what are the ways that things are working best? Is it just that Detroit needs to join the bigger system, like the bigger sharing system? I don't know. So we'll keep working on it. If you're somebody who's involved in the Detroit libraries, give me a call, or send me a voicemail. All right, let's get into where we've been. And I don't know if you have a place because you were at cross-country meets.
I have been at cross-country meets. You know where I've been, Jer? I have been at the Westin Marriott at the airport. That's where I've been.
All right, what's your quick review?
Surprisingly very nice. I was there for a conference over the weekend, which is kind of funny because you're like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm going to the airport. But where are you going? To the Westin.
People don't realize that a lot of conferences happen that way.
Yeah. And it was great. They did a very good job of taking care of the organization that I was there for the conference for. And the rooms were very nice. The room service was great. So if you ever need to stay at the airport, the Westin is a good choice. So where have you been?
I went to the Detroit Historical Museum's Chinatown exhibit.
Oh, I want to go see that so bad.
You should, because it's good. As often with the Detroit Historical Museum, yes, there's like lots of great photos and all that other stuff, but there's also a lot of history that's going to get packed in there. And like they're great artifacts. Like you can see an old Chin-Tiki lit up sign and all that other stuff, which is very cool. Also, there's some real facts in there that I'm like, oh, people need to know about them. So, number one, I will mention this. If you live in the city of Detroit, Hamtramck, or Highland Park, you can become a member for free and get free admission to this place. So you can dip in and dip out whenever you want. Take whatever benefit you can living in this place. And that's one of the great ones. So this is on the upper floor. I think it's the second floor because the third floor is administration. And you go into this gallery and there's a bunch of old artifacts. There's also some interesting things around location and timelines. And when I say about that, you see how big Chinatown wasn't, especially the first edition. And when I say that, I mean in block area. I'm talking just a few city blocks. Here's the other thing. At its peak, before it was forced to move, because there were two Chinatowns. One was forced to move. It was near the area of where the DTE headquarters is now. A bunch like the thing that was the casino for a while, the Detroit Police headquarters, like that area. There were at one point 4,000 people living in those just few blocks. That is like 2/3 of the people who live in all of downtown Detroit now.
Yeah.
That tells you the drop. Then you will see another graph that you will see from 1960 to 1974. You had 4,000 people and it went down to 50. when it got moved up Cass into the what's often called the Cass corridor. I'm a little familiar with this area. My dad was a Plum Street artist. Previous listeners of the show will know I talked about this with Norris. Norris and I have a little bit differing opinions on this whole thing, but the difference is stunning. And what you realize is the drop really started when you started to move things for these mega developments that, frankly, the casino, the MGM casinos in that kind of area, I would rather have today 4,000 residents or 6,000 residents.
And the density of that many people within those few city blocks.
Even if you look at places like Corktown, which is an area that is definitely seeing more residents, people moving in, used to have a lot more rooftops. And a lot of the industrial sections over there on Rosa Parks and such, that was all part of urban renewal. We thought that maybe industrial and trucking was the way to go, and we eliminated a bunch of housing there. So instead of fixing it up, investing in the people.
Right.
And I think this is part of that long-term distrust that residents and former residents and children of former residents have. Like our families were displaced by Pole Town.
Yeah.
Just thrown out of their neighborhood. That is where that root of that distrust comes from mega projects. So if people wonder, there's a legit reason out of that. And so for me, it's there's so much potential with all of these areas in the city.
Was there more context given to
Vincent Chin?
Okay.
A lot of the murders that happened in the 70s. And before that, a lot of the things they talked about, the opium issues, where Chinese people were discriminated against because of their perceptions of bringing in these things. This is one of those complicated things that's just, it's to see this change. And I'm glad to see some more idea that this is an important part of Detroit's history. Listeners have been loud and clear. They want us to talk about Portillo's because there's another location coming to Livonia.
Oh, goodness.
Now, have you been to Portillo's?
You know what? I have not. I keep meaning to go every time I talk about it.
Well, it's not just in Sterling Heights, but it's
it's
out there.
Yeah. But it's every time I talk about it, my husband's like, I don't want to go all the way out there. And I'm like, I don't blame you because I really don't either.
I've gone a couple times. I actually enjoy it. Be still the heart. I know it's from Chicago or whatever, but a lot of people are really excited about this one. It is going to be opening up in what they call the Millennium Park at the intersection of 96 and Middle Belt Road. It'll be 7,900 square feet. Just like the other one is a pretty big one. Like the one in Sterling Heights, you go in there and there's a giant garage door to walk through. It's huge.
Jared, when I saw this and I saw where it was going to be at, the first thought was, where the old racetrack was.
Oh, yeah.
Because I used to spend a lot of time at that horse track when I was in high school. And now it's a shopping center. My older sibling liked to bet on the ponies, but she also was a trainer. So we spent a lot of time at the track. I used to do my homework at the snack tables.
Isn't there isn't there a Costco or something?
There's a Costco there. There's a Meijer there. There's a Home Depot there. There's a Texas there. There's a lot over there. There's a Del Taco over there.
So will you go to this Portillo's?
Yes, I would go to this Portillo's because I'm actually go past that way to go to Northville to see my family. Speaking of Livonia, I just happened to see this article in Cranes about Comerica's selling off a lot of their office buildings around town. Both in Livonia, they have a office building at 6 Mile and Haggerty, right on the Northville-Livonia border. They also have multiple buildings up in Auburn Hills that they sold 2 of them off. There was 3 up there, so they're downsizing. But the one thing that I noticed was the Livonia building, whoever bought that development, they're going to tear that office building down, and their plan is to put in a new Whole Foods.
It's an interesting economic indicator for the area.
Yeah.
Because Livonia is doing well.
It is.
Economically.
And that area specifically is really, really busy. I know that when we heard that they were selling off all these buildings, I know that there was some concern is Comerica in a bad position? What's going on with this? But I talked to somebody who is familiar with the company, and they said that basically they're really embracing this hybrid work model. So they really don't need all that extra office space anymore because a lot of people are working from home. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens at that space at 6 Mile and Haggerty. There's also supposed to be a 5-story apartment building being built and a 4-story 101 room extended stay hotel.
In Auburn Hills?
No, in Livonia.
Interesting, because Livonia generally pushes back against taller buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing a hybrid model? What are some of your thoughts on these things? 313-789-3211. As you know, we'll play your voicemail. dailydetroit@gmail.com. Go ahead, send the feedback. I'm very curious about these things because, the experts I talk to say the doomsday is coming when it comes to that kind of commercial real estate. And it's not that it's all going to go away, but definitely major changes are afoot as leases and contracts run out. Cheyenne Nocerny, it's so good to see you.
It is great to see you too, Jer.
Reminder for everyone, Devin O'Reilly joins us tomorrow talking about all the Friday things. I always look forward to it. I know a bunch of you do too. With that, I am Jer Stays. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to leave 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. We've got that happy hour coming October 25th on Wednesday. Enjoy it. I can't wait to see you. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.